We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Reality Rants. I am Jason Bermas. This is redvoicemedia.com. And let's start the day off with some Donny T. Again, I really, unfortunately, I hate to talk this way, but I think it is a foregone conclusion that they intend and will at least achieve on some level with one of these criminal cases to put Donald Trump in prison. It has become extremely apparent to me. I mean, for me, it's very difficult to understand how more and more people, I understand there's like the people that are kind of in the blind cult who just think the guy is totally invincible. And then you got the super delusional cult that's been grifted upon that somehow think he's still in charge of everything, despite everything, again, that's going on in the public arena. Okay? But then you have these guys and gals that, you know, I interview almost on a daily basis, from ex-military to political analysts, to political allies, to pundits, to authors, to media personalities, etc. And I put them on the spot about what happens when, or in their case, if, I'm like, even if you don't think it's going to happen, if they put Donald Trump in actual jail, because the arrests have already happened. The indictments already happened. The trials are now happening. And I warned, I thought the Georgia case was going to be the weakest one, and it was their last card to play. And then it becomes this RICO case, which is the most dangerous because it's the ultimate fishing expedition of any kind of moral evil that they can try to seize upon as a criminal act. Just want to point that out also. Okay? So yesterday, you had another ruling in this civil case that Donald Trump is attending. Okay, and it's absurd. The judge gagged Trump on this. He said he violated the gag order. He fined him another $10,000, gave him another warning. Going to be a lot more next time. You can't even speak on your own behalf. And as we illustrated yesterday, and we showed you yesterday, his former lawyer had to get up there and start apologizing in tears for what she had done. What? Forget about just attorney-client privilege outside of the executive. Outside of the executive. But let's talk about just the executive itself and executive sessions. I mean, they got Navarro in prison as well right now. Like, let me make sure that's true, because I believe Navarro's still in jail. Peter Navarro, jail. Let's see what we got. He's found guilty of facing prison, contempt of Congress, convicted. So he's convicted of and 30 days and a maximum of 1 year. I'm not sure he's even sentenced. Let's see. Let's go to sentenced. We do it live here. And we got some other fun live stuff for you, let me tell you. For sure. So there's the... they gave him 4 months. Is it 4 months, or is that Bannon? Found guilty last year, defying a subpoena. That's Bannon. Bannon 4 months in prison. And look, Donald Trump and this response right here should be everywhere. Should be huge. This is the former president of the United States. Has the largest political visible base I've ever seen in my lifetime. Again, you can love him, you can hate him, you can try to deny that. That's the reality. Okay? A huge political base. And these trials are overtly fraudulent on so many levels. Now, killing it in the polls. Where is he in any kind of actual search engine? Let me just, again, we're going to show you this. So I typed in Trump response. Trump response. Now, the top one, I went to videos. Okay, now, admittedly, the top one is C-SPAN. C-SPAN is like the last bastion of Will Arrett. That's it. And it was the last bastion when they cut him off after cut the president off from the media after the 2020 election. That's what happened. First of all, it should be down the line. This is today's news. August, July, June, August, June, June, June. See that? See how that works? I mean, you have to come all the way down here, all the way, okay, to 19 years ago. So, or 19, and it's the same exact video, okay, or it might be a clip of it from C-SPAN. So C-SPAN's it. Now we're gonna do a little test in real time here to see what Twitter gives us. Okay, and maybe we get 2 minutes of that speech on Twitter. Maybe we get the full one. I haven't done it yet, so we'll see it. First of all, this For You garbage is total garbage. We never want For You. We always want to be on following. Secondly, let's do it. Let's just type in Trump responds. Same thing. Okay. Not Trump. 14-minute video from whoever Robert Gouveia Esquire is. Okay. And then some kind of MSNBC, Kenneth Chesborough thing. So not Trump. Not Trump. October 17th. Does anybody get it? Like, had this happened, on a platform that was actually free speech, right, Elon? I mean, it's total trash and garbage. That thing would be the trending thing, the first thing you find on any type of real news site. Any type of one. Let's try media. Trump response. Let's see if we can find it. Again, where's Donald Trump? Where is Donald Trump in a search Trump response? Here it is with Megyn Kelly from September 14th. Okay, so now let's try it again. Let's just type in Trump. See if we can even find the video. Okay, so media, at least, hey, I get a Gateway Pundit article. The Jenna Ellis Show. Okay, so this is the woman that had the tears. Third one down, Charlie Kirk, the statement. Third one down. I had to wait to get to the third. And then is it littered with it? Nope. Nope. So clearly, anyone who's telling you that Twitter is a free speech platform and any better than Facebook, like, it's a facade of better. It's not even really, It's like, oh, we're going to bring back some people we banned. Meanwhile, Schroyer's in jail, couldn't get his original Twitter account back, and there are reports apparently he was already put in solitary confinement. Because, that's what we should be doing to people who are non-violent, non-criminals. But we'll let criminals do their thing. Do their thing. And then we'll just censor everybody. So it's on like Donkey Kong, everybody. Ain't nobody getting out of this one. And you can say, ain't nobody got time for that. Everybody, whether they realize it or not, are 100% and totally, myself included, manipulated by the screens we stare at all day. If you are looking at a screen, there is a level of manipulation no matter what. I don't think you can go 30 seconds at this point without something, especially if you're on one of these goddamn things. My God. So we're going to play the Donny T response, but this is a civil case. Okay. They got 4 criminal ones coming for you. And it's funny, I interviewed Joel Gilbert. Joel Gilbert's done some really interesting stuff. Joel Gilbert has done Dreams of My Real Father, the Frank Marshall Davis Obama story. So it's a great documentary. I've shown you Frank Marshall Davis here. I think that he makes a wonderful case, a very, very convincing case that Frank Marshall Davis is indeed Barack Obama's real father, Barry Soetoro's real father. And this is a guy that did on-the-ground investigative journalism. I always like that. I always like it when people go out there and actually talk to people, go get old yearbooks, which we're going to talk about, and old photographs. So he also did a film called Trump, The Art of the Insult. Another very fun movie. Very smart. Very on the ground. So Gilbert's done some good stuff. Didn't realize in 2022, he'd already put a book/film out called Michelle Obama 2024. And he still believes, just like Roger Stone, it will be Michelle Obama who comes in and sweeps up the Democratic nomination. He thinks that Michelle Obama is going to announce in November. So sometime within the next month, we'll see. Joel Gilbert, we're putting it down to Chinatown. Gilbert's another one, however, that I'm sitting there and I'm talking to, and he doesn't seem to think it matters if Trump goes to jail. He's going to be the nominee. Now, he does not think we're necessarily going to have legitimate elections. Well, that's a problem. That's a big problem. But he also says, that's one of the reasons that you go with Michelle Obama. It's because if these people plan to steal it, you want something more plausible than Joe Biden, because let's be honest, Joe Biden wasn't very plausible the first time around, other than this illusion that the media is setting of how many people had severe TDS. Right? I mean, that's how they got away with it, is the severe TDS narrative. Well, again, take a good look at the narrative control here. We did it. That's what I'm getting. We did it, Joe. I mean, again, I typed in Trump. This is what you get for media and Trump on Twitter, the free speech platform. This thing, honestly, should be littered down the line. Littered down the line. And this should be, I mean, not necessarily Charlie Kirk's, but out of all the searches, why wouldn't that be the top one? And I get it. There are large echo chambers on other platforms, whether it be Getter or Truth Social, which is like, the Trump fanboying. What are we doing here, guys? If that's all you get, that's completely marginalized. And now the media, along with the government, are legitimizing, criminalizing not only your speech, but your political affiliations, DVEs, okay? Domestic violent extremists. And now this is with the agave, anti-government. Ooh, you're anti-government. I'm certainly not anti-government. I'm not ridiculous. I realize we have to have a government, but one of a system of checks and balances. How dare you say that, Jason? Accountability, checks and balances sounds very undemocratic to me, bro. Sounds very undemocratic to me. Like, how hard is it to figure it out that just because you're criticizing corruption within a government, you're not an anti-government extremist? And also, you don't happen to be a domestic violent extremist, all right, if you like a certain candidate, that who was the president of the United States, who they constantly misrepresented and framed up and tried to make the public believe like he was some kind of Russian Putin lapdog, where there was basically no conflict with those people violently. Maybe some proxy stuff going on, but nothing crazy. No escalation in the Middle East of significance. Although, again, I'll always say it. Syria didn't do the right thing, Donny. Iran didn't do the right thing, Donny. Israel, Jerusalem didn't do the right thing, Donny. So the stage was set then. And in fact, I'm going to show you a clip a little later on, outside of Trump, that the U.S. and Israel were doing some pretty massive wargaming together. Surprise, surprise, in January of this year. Now, they do this all the time, but it's worth noting that this one was definitely gearing up for some type of an escalation and extremely large scale. So we'll play that in a little bit. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. It is Reality Rants with Jason Bermas, and we will be back after this.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
And we are back. And you know, the big question still to me remains, what happens once they put this guy in jail? Because I honestly don't know. I don't know. And look, I'd be one of the happiest individuals ever if indeed they don't put him in prison. If indeed he can actually beat all of these cases. And the one in D.C., how does that happen? I've already seen the precedent set that the political enemies, not just of the Democrats and the left, of any authoritative narrative, and when I say authoritative, I mean authoritarian narrative, they don't get a fair shake in bacon. No. They get what? They get prison time. Hardcore prison time. They get solitary confinement. They get their entire being stripped of them, and then a narrative projected on them by the media that is obscene and absurd. That's what they get. I mean, Assange being one of the biggest cases out there. 100%. 100%. And you know what? We briefly talked about it, but Craig Murray, another journalist, also jail overseas. Jail. Jail time, jail time, jail time for journalists. I mean, just what I'm trying to show you here in the obscene. Like, let's go to YouTube. It'll be interesting what you get for Trump and YouTube. You'll probably get, when I type in Trump or Trump responds, you'll probably get the authoritative sources and their take on it. You'll get Fox News maybe in there, right? Maybe we'll get some Fox stuff. But MSNBC, CNN, maybe some Forbes, maybe Bueller. So we're doing it live. Okay, you get to see an insight into my YouTube homepage without me signed in. And let's do it. Let's say Trump responds. Okay, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. All right, okay. So let's say Trump responds. Let's filter it. Let's just do this week. Okay, there we go. So there's the speaker. So you know what? That's probably what I have first. Okay, this is actually his commentary on the speaker election. That's why there was two here. Okay. I mean, that's how hard it is to find these things. Okay, so there's the New York civil one after. Oh, wow. So we've got two. We'll do the speaker one as well, but I wanted to talk about Mike Johnson. And look, I'll tell you what. I don't know much about Mike Johnson, but I do know that he was at least one of the people that called out the 2020 election. That should be like bare minimum. If you're trying to elect a legitimate leader in the House, especially if you're supposedly on that side, bare minimum to, say, hey, how about a free and fair election? Maybe some audits. Maybe not mail-in ballots. Maybe we should not have what? Machines with proprietary software that we're unable to even know what the software is. It's proprietary. Insanity. So let's do it. We're 20 minutes deep, reality rant style. Let's do the New York civil case right here. Again, C-SPAN is it.
So what just happened, as you know, is the witness was fully impeached. He admitted that he lied. That was a Perry Mason moment. I hope you caught it. I don't know if you did. A lot of times the press doesn't like to report what happened, but the credibility of the press is very important. So he just admitted that he lied. That was a big one. Any other question? Yes?
Mr. Trump, Michael Cohen is a liar. That was clear today. The question is, if he was lying in the past in service to you, while he was loyal to you, doesn't that undercut your defense and actually bolster?
Well, he wasn't working for me at the time that he lied. You know, when he was doing that testimony, that was before Congress, a very heavily sworn testimony. He was not even working for me. That he had already left. So he lied, and he admitted that he lied. I'm not sure he would have really had a choice but to admit it because we caught him, but he's been totally impeached, as he was in theory before he even made that statement. But that was very much a Perry Mason moment. What is happening with Congress? Go ahead.
What did he say? What was the statement he made?
Go ahead.
What should happen now after the impeachment, Mr. President? What should happen?
Well, this should happen in terms of this particular trial. I think it should be dropped. It should have never been started. I don't have a jury. It should have never been started.
I mean, he doesn't have a jury. I mean, think about in the civil case, they didn't give the ex-president who requested a jury. And you don't think they're planning on putting him in jail?
The judge is a Democrat, but I do respect the judge. I do respect the judge, and it's very unfair. She worked the trial so that it comes under a certain statute where you don't get a jury. That's very unfair.
Congress, Mr. President, you said you may go to the Capitol. to see it in person and meet with House members. What would you say to the House members if you did go in person?
Well, you saw my statements over the last few days about Mike Johnson. I don't know where that stands right now because I've been sitting in court all day. So I'll find out soon, but he's very respected.
What just happened inside the courtroom just now?
What?
What just happened inside of the courtroom right now?
You mean the conversation?
Yes.
That I can't tell you.
Did you violate the gag order, Mr. President?
No, no.
Were you referring to the clerk?
With respect to what?
The disparaging comments.
No, not at all.
Who were you speaking to?
Man, they really want him to get fined again, some of these. The disparaging comments, were you referring to the court? What's going on in the court?
To the person sitting beside the judge.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes,
Who are you referring to?
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Trump, while you're in court, have you been monitoring your other cases, and what do you make about the idea that so many people who are loyal to you have sent friend states with them?
Somebody what?
Sidney Powell, Ken Chesbrough, and others that they're now turning into witnesses against.
Well, they're offered a deal, and they're taking deals, but from what I understand, they're saying nothing bad about me at all, but they're taking deals. A lot of people, they've been under investigation for years on this, and they don't go after the people that rigged the election and stole the election. They go after people that have been trying to find out who rigged it and who stole it. And a lot of people know that answer, and if you look at the polls or the public believes very strongly that the election was rigged and stolen. But when somebody's gone after for years, any one of a number of people, for years and years and years, and they eventually say, look, let's try and make a deal and get out of this because it's ruined their lives. And yet the people that rigged it, nothing happens to them. It's very sad, very bad for our country. Thank you.
Now, again, I'm in full agreement with him. But since they've been able to pull that off, Donny T, why? And it looks like they gave the guy a civil trial with the ex-president, a civil trial with no jury. And Letitia James just like, he dramatically stormed out of court to audible gasps and was later fined $10,000 in a day of legal fireworks. Let's hear what there are mountains of evidence. This person. Blah. Blah. But this is what we're up against. I want people to understand that these are just people, and they're very unimpressive people, by the way. I mean, this is what modern day authoritarianism looks like. All right? This is it. Take a good look, everybody. Listen, it doesn't wear a funny hat all the time. It doesn't have a funny accent. Okay? It doesn't necessarily have a uniform. All right? And this is it.
Good evening, everyone. This has been a 4-year investigation, and there is mountains of evidence which basically corroborate the testimony of a number of witnesses. It's also important to know that Michael Cohen is not the main witness. His evidence has been corroborated by the mountains of evidence, enough evidence to fill the courtroom.
Enough evidence to fill the... I mean, this is an unimpressive person also. Letitia James has never been impressive on a microphone. But I mean, come on. This is like a 90-second soundbite, and you can't even get through it. Michael Cohen's not even the main witness. There are mountains of evidence and mountains of evidence to fill the courtroom.
So I look forward again to this trial continuing, and I always look forward to justice. Thank you very much. And let me also remind you that the judge has already made a decision with respect to the summary judgment. There is sufficient evidence to prove that, in fact, Mr. Trump, the Trump Organization, and the other defendants committed widespread fraud.
So I'm not going to take questions. I stutter and stammer because, again, I was put into this position to do this. Part of the game. I'm a puppet. That's part of it. All right? And then the other thing that James slipped in is we've already found him guilty without a jury. We've already found him guilty without a jury. The judge has already made a summary judgment in this case. He's already been found guilty without a jury. That's the America I want to live in. Somebody at the supposed apex of power in this country, the commander-in-chief, can't get a jury trial in New York City, where he did business for decades. Decades. Can't get a jury trial. That guy. If he can't get a jury trial, what do you think happens to you if you ever step up to the plate? And that's the message here. That's part of the PSYOP and the psychological operation. And then they have somebody like Letitia James do it to you. She's not poopy pants Joe Biden. No, she's conscious, right? But just unimpressive. It's like Millie, unimpressive person after unimpressive person. So you sit there and you're like,
man, you are one pathetic loser.
But the beat goes on. That's it. I mean, it just forward. Boom, 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 boom. In fact, we talked about that via Truth Stream Media yesterday. It's like no matter who's in power, seems like this agenda, trudges forward. Talking to David Icke, a couple times over the past couple months, I asked him about how he talked about if Biden had gotten in, it would be worse than Trump. And he's like, well, yeah, and it has been. I mean, all these things have now been fast-tracked. Fast-tracked. It's not wrong. We're about to go to break. Thumbs it up, thumbs it up, thumbs it up. Subscribe and share. Let's get over 100 thumbs on every platform. It'd be great if we get up to 200 thumbs on platforms like YouTube and platforms like Rumble. Try to grow the channels. YouTube is just the slow decline. Slow decline. And again, no real traction over on Twitter either, because they're narrative management operations. They're Trojan horse civilian systems that are part of this whole problem we're talking about today. All of it. So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk Donny T, the Speaker of the House, Mike Jackson, Matt Gaetz, and more. Second hour lives over at rvmrumble.com. Back after this word from our sponsor.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
thanks America!
I've got this open air re-education camp YouTube thing that Danny Polishchuk, who does the Boys Cast with Ryan Long, who does the Low Value Male podcast that I've been on. He's a really great follow on Twitter, very funny guy. I happen to like comedians, by the way. Even if I don't agree with their politics, if you're funny, thank you. If you made me laugh, thank you. I do happen to like people like Polishchuk and Ryan Long, maybe a little bit more, because they are they're people that are making relevant political commentary. Okay? And somebody like JP Awakens, he's another one. They actually did a great collab together where Danny Polishchuk plays a pilot and he starts talking about a little something he can't be talking about on the YouTube. And they do a good job of satirizing that, right? We need more and more of that. But we're gonna have to wait for that little piece of censorship, because basically, just like Jenna Ellis has to get up there now and read down the line and cry and say, "I'm sorry, I wouldn't be involved if I didn't know." I didn't do I'm sorry. Just like that. Now, if you want your channel back and to get a strike removed, you've got a little re-education camp quiz. Are you going to answer this correctly? Can't wait to show you what that quiz is. But first, let's get into Donny T. Okay? This is it. This is his comments on the speaker election, okay, and Mark Meadows' immunity report. Now, Mark Meadows is yet another one of these people entrenched in this RICO case and has now been given immunity. And nobody knows what he's going to say, what he's going to do. But just like I said, this is a huge fishing expedition to see what they can do to get people to flip and clip, all right, or plead guilty to whatever. Like he said, a lot of people are taking plea deals, all right? Why? Because that's how they go after this guy from every single angle. That's how.
Bill for the Speaker of the House race to meet with House members in person?
I may, but I think Mike Johnson is doing very well. He's a tremendous congressman, respected by everybody. I hear it looks like it's really good. I haven't had one negative comment about him. Everybody likes him. Just respected by all, and that's something we need. And it looks like that's going to happen. So that'll be a wonderful thing. I put out a truth today on him, and I did one last night. You saw that. We could get somebody that's going to be really spectacular, and maybe for many years to come. He'll be very good. So we're very happy about that. On the trial here, it's going very well. This is a Biden witch hunt deal. It all comes out of the DOJ. It's to interfere with the election. Our company has turned out to be much stronger than anyone even thought. The financial statements are much lower than the actual numbers. The actual numbers are much higher. We're in the process of proving that. We already have proved it. They had Mar-a-Lago valued at $18 million, the Attorney General, with the judge, and working in coordination with the judge, and it's worth approximately 50 to 100 times that amount. This is a witch hunt. It's just a bad trial, a very unfair trial. The only time the statute's ever been used for this is this. This is a statute that doesn't give you a jury, doesn't give you anything. It's a pure political witch hunt, but we have the facts on our side, so the company is much stronger than they anticipated, much stronger than anyone really understood. It was a private company, so nobody understood it. The assets have very little debt. We have a lot of cash. It's a great company, and we're happy with the way it's going, but it's a witch hunt. There's no question about it. Getting back to Congress, we think Mike Johnson's going to do really well. He's popular. He's smart. He's sharp. He's going to be fantastic. I think he's going to be a fantastic speaker. I believe that will happen. We'll see what. You'll let me know when I come out. I'll be out in a couple of hours.
Do you think Giuliani's going to take
Well, I don't believe that, because I've spoken to Mark Meadows many, many times over the years, and he strongly believed the election was rigged. Now, of course, you know, deranged Jack Smith and the prosecutors, they go after somebody for years, and they say, look, here's the story. We'll give you nothing. We'll erect a statue to you, or you're going to go to jail for 10 years for having done nothing wrong. So, you know, a lot of people have to make that decision. Some people would never make that decision. Other people would. But Mark Meadows always felt it was rigged. This whole thing was rigged. It was rigged, and it was stolen. And because it was rigged and stolen, our country's gone to hell. You take a look at the border, you take a look at Israel, that would have never happened. You take a look at Ukraine, that would have never happened. Our country's going to hell. You just look at energy independent we were, and now we're not energy independent. We're not even close. We're buying energy from Venezuela and lots of other places, and we have more liquid gold under our feet. We're a crime-ridden nation. We're a nation in decline, all because of a rigged and stolen election. Thank you very much.
What about Giuliani? Do you think he'll take a deal?
What about Giuliani? Will he cut a deal? Who's cutting deals? Everyone's cutting deals. Deal cutting. So, I believe we got to find Gaetz right here. Here's Gaetz. So, Mike Johnson, he's in. Again, don't know much about him. I would have rather had this guy. I love that Thomas Massey did this. Ron Paul for speaker? Huh? Massey and Paul, couple Kentucky winners right there. That's what I like to see. People who are winning in Kentucky. So here we go. Here is Matt Gaetz on MSNBC on the mainstream media in response.
Kevin McCarthy celebrating a victory that almost didn't happen.
Gaetz, one of the leaders of the rebellion.
Look at somebody's holding somebody back. Look at that. Oh, somebody just held somebody back.
Kevin McCarthy going head-to-head with Congressman Matt Gaetz after the House Speaker worked with Democrats to avert a government shutdown.
Matt Gaetz promising he will move this week to remove House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
It is astonishing to hear any colleague give Speaker McCarthy credit.
Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his role as Speaker of the House by fellow Republicans.
Buckle up for a fight.
He said it, he did it, and he's here. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, my live guest in studio in Washington. I know it was a busy day on the floor. Thanks for being here.
Welcome to you to Washington. We're glad to have you here.
Here I am. Let's get right to it. What does today's speaker vote mean? And did you cut any side deals this time like we heard about last time?
No side deals. This speaker election means that the House Republican Conference is united. Really, for the first time this Congress, we are united behind a man of deep faith who obeys Almighty God and the Constitution before all else. And I was...
Now let me stop it here. I could do without the Almighty God thing in the beginning. Call me kooky. I could just do without it. Yeah, I could just do without that type of rhetoric. I like the Constitution. I like the Bill of Rights. I like accountability. That's great stuff. And look, Gaetz has grown on me a lot. I think there's some issues there, but he doesn't seem to be the frothing at the mouth warmonger that so many of these other people are.
Proud to support him. He's not someone who comes from any particular faction of the Republican conference.
I don't know about that.
Well, he has strong relationships from our most moderate members to our most conservative members. And you know what? Everyone feels listened to with Mike Johnson. He has a great tone, a great leadership skill stack, and I'm going to do everything I can to make him successful.
One of the things that you and several Republicans got changed at the beginning of the year was you made it easier to remove a speaker in real time. Then you exercised that authority. So people are seeing a Congress, a set of news cycles here that are because of what you guys did. We're told that continues. So would you be as eager to use that rule to topple this speaker as McCarthy, or this was kind of one and done for you?
Well, we have Republicans and Democrats who are interested in raising the threshold for the motion to vacate beyond just one member. And just this morning, I met with Speaker Johnson about that and about those desires. And here's what I've offered. Ro Khanna of California, a Democrat, and I have worked on some bipartisan anti-corruption rule changes for the House that wouldn't allow members of Congress to become lobbyists or registered foreign agents, that wouldn't allow members of Congress to accept donations from lobbyists and political action committees, and that would stop members of Congress from trading individual stocks.
You know, I'd like to see lobbyists out altogether. Just, that's done. That's done on unzo. I mean, lobbying used to be for factions of the citizenry that wanted their voice heard. And now it's all corporate interests. It's all military-industrial complex interests. Period. That's it. By the way, can we get 100 thumbs up on all the platforms over here? Let's get back to Gaetz.
So if we could approach that Khanna-Gaetz anti-corruption agenda with great vigor, then I might be willing to consider an increase in the threshold on the motion to vacate.
So you could raise the threshold, which makes it harder to toss somebody. Do you have any idea whether Mike Johnson is worried that you guys will do this again? I mean, I said one and done because, yes, you could technically do it, but if you keep doing this, right, that's going to complicate a lot of your party's governing agenda.
I do not want your viewers to get the impression that I want to govern by motion to vacate. This was something that we had to do because Kevin McCarthy had lied to us. You know, the one thing that...
So it was a McCarthy thing for you?
Listen, when you sit there and you say one thing and you do another, and it's to the detriment of not only the American people, but the global populace, when you're allowing us to drift into a possible World War III scenario, when you're allowing the imprisonment, okay, an overt authoritarian overpunishment of American citizens for January 6th and not releasing all the videos like you promised. Yeah, out. Get them out of there. Goodbye. Later. See ya.
Well, undeniably, if Kevin McCarthy had maintained his commitments to pursue single-subject spending bills, if he had released the January 6th tapes, if he had called for the votes on a balanced budget amendment and term limits as he had promised, then he would likely still be Speaker today. It wasn't about the man so much as his unwillingness to adhere to the agreement that he had made.
Well, you know, we keep it real around here, and I appreciate you coming on. It seems sometimes somewhat about the men, because you seem to have beef with him and him with you. It did seem at times to get quite tense. Let me ask you about that.
Oh, come on now, Ari. Although I will admit this is not quite the hatchet job it could have been from the very beginning. But he's trying to make it about machismo. No, everything Gaetz just said there is correct.
That's not true, though. I want to push back on that because I can cite specific things that Kevin McCarthy agreed to do. And the reason I brought this motion to vacate is when I went home to my constituents, they looked at me and said, Matt, you promised us a term limit vote. You promised us a balanced budget vote. He's not doing these things. And you said there was a one-person motion to vacate. So it was really accountability for policy and procedure failures more than it was any beef.
Accountability. Man, there's a word. It just rolls off my tongue. Accountability. Self-accountability. Accountability for those in power. Accountability for those in the media, those in government. Accountability. Hell, that's what the media was supposed to be there for. Was some type of accountability. The fourth estate. Investigative journalism.
We have informed viewers, and they've lived through it and watched it all, so they can adjust and assess what you're saying based on what they saw, because we saw that. But I do want to get you, while I have you on, one of the things that you all said was bad.
One of the things you said was bad. All right, so here comes Ari. We got to take a break. Final segment of the first hour over here at Reality Rant. Second hour lives over at RVMRumble.com, and we will be back after this word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now. 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now. 833-287-2465. Act swiftly. 833-287-2465.
Final segment of the first hour. Let's get back to it. Here comes Melber trying to be slick. Huh? Oh, well, yeah, we got informed viewers. We're going to let them decide whether you were just a macho man with Kevin McCarthy or you actually had some substance behind why you got rid of him. They can make that decision. But we got this right here. I'm going to Melber you right now. Let's Melber.
Was that you said Kevin McCarthy was working with Democrats or doing so in the wrong way. Let me show you. Take a look.
Working with the Democrats is a yellow brick road that has been paved by Speaker McCarthy.
The Speaker fought through 15 votes in January to become Speaker, but was only willing to fight through one failed CR before surrendering to the Democrats.
The only time that we lost the conservative agenda was when Kevin McCarthy went behind the Republican conference and was able to retain a majority of Democrat votes.
You and others said that. And yet, this is the question I've been dying to ask you. I haven't seen you in person since this all went down. Look at this chart. Congressman Gaetz, you were in the minority. You partnered with over 200 Democrats to oust Kevin McCarthy. And so the question to you, and this is not a left or right question, as you know, there are conservatives and Republicans who've raised this issue with you in this recent time. Why is it bad when Kevin McCarthy partners with Democrats to keep the government open, but it's okay when you do it to actually shut down basically a functioning House for a few weeks?
Because that functioning House, what? Was basically cutting arms deals behind closed doors to escalate wars that really put us all in danger. And the opposite is true with what these people did to get him out so he could no longer work with those entities behind closed doors. This idea of a functioning government. Listen, the government's going to function whether it gets shut down or not, stripped or not. All right, we already need a huge overhaul of the outward bureaucracies we all live under right now. Right now.
Well, we shut down for 22 days. Keep in mind, every year, Congress takes a 6-week vacation. So we took about half the time of the normal vacation, and I actually think it was some of our more productive
And you couldn't have done it without those 200
to
Democrats. You couldn't have done it without working with Democrats, right?
Yeah, and by the way, I work with Democrats regularly, whether it's on privacy rights, on FISA issues, whether it's on criminal justice
But
reform.
I just showed you saying that was a yellow brick road paved by McCarthy.
Right,
you say that was wrong.
Well,
that
was a tight clip.
There it is.
Yeah.
Let me and I'll give you the mic back.
Sure.
Our viewers, they don't always hear directly from you. They see, coverage of you. Explain to us in logical English why it's bad when he does it and okay when you do it.
Well, I had to work with Democrats to remove McCarthy because he worked with Democrats to violate the agreements he had made with us. Had Democrats or had McCarthy not worked with Democrats on the debt limit deal in violation of the guardrails we had set up, certainly I wouldn't have worked with Democrats to remove him. But it's not, I think we're being a bit reductive here. It's okay to work with Democrats in divided government. It's actually necessary and required if you want to do the essential functions of government. What's not okay is for Kevin McCarthy to blow through the guardrails we set. For example, we told him that he was authorized to negotiate a debt limit deal that was to a certain date or a certain dollar amount, whichever came first. He then blew through those guardrails to just suspend the debt limit entirely until January of 2025.
And doing that, again, that's another 13, 14, 15 months at that time, right? In doing that, you've already seen trillion-dollar jumps in the debt from $32 to $33 trillion in a month's time. Now, what do you think that's eventually going to do for stationary inflation? Because we've seen some prices come back down, but we've also seen the escalation of fuel. Winter is coming, everybody. November right around the corner. Happy Halloween weekend, everybody coming up. I hope everybody's partying it up. I'm a very busy guy. I won't be able to do that. Hope everybody's having a little fun skiing hutch, though. Definitely hoping for that. But after that, what is it going to be like around Thanksgiving, Christmas time? There's some indicators that maybe not so great. Maybe not so great. And there is a tipping point, right? There is a tipping point in every society as to when you can only inflate the currency to so much. So without spending limits, etc., that is going to be exacerbated, escalated, and possibly fast-tracked. And how many average Americans can really afford that right now?
We've already accrued $2 additional trillion in debt.
Right. So you're saying, look, people can assess that, like I said, for themselves. You're saying that that was the enforcement against deals you'd already made. I'm running out on time here, but finally, big picture, take it all together. Did Matt Gaetz and the rebels win because you got the speaker you wanted, and now you don't have to vacate or play those strategies anymore? Or are Matt Gaetz and the so-called rebels still out here, and Johnson should be just as worried over his shoulder as McCarthy?
It's the former. We are here to make Mike Johnson as successful as a speaker as he can possibly be. He has sat next to me for 7 years on the House Judiciary Committee. We served together on House Armed Services. We have very aligned perspectives on a vast majority of issues. So this is our guy. This isn't a guy that we're going to chase around with a motion to vacate. This is a guy we're going to do everything we can to pour into and make successful.
I gave you time. I want to mention for viewers, it's your guy, which is different from how we started the interview, which you said he's everybody's guy, he's across the board, but now he's your side's.
Well,
your team's guy.
look, he can be our guy and he can be the guy for other folks. Everybody voted for him, but I think people can be enthusiastic about Mike Johnson for different reasons. Yeah. I'm very enthusiastic about him being an honest man, a true conservative. I think others that might not hold his perspective on some of those policy questions really like his leadership style.
Well, I thank you for coming in. When it comes to the speaker news, you have been a big part of it and been in the news. I appreciate you coming on the beat.
All right. Well, you know what? Ari not as vicious as I thought he may have been. I'm not saying he was super fair, but at the same time, certainly not as vicious. Now, we're going to be going over to the second hour in about 6 or 7 minutes. I got a wide range of stories down the line. I just want to briefly mention a story that I'm not really covering today, and that is the story in Maine. And I realize so many people are going to be covering it and so many people are going to be analyzing it. I'm rather, I'm not saying I'm happy about when it happened. I'm happy today is Thursday, and this is the last day that I broadcast in the week. We do it Monday through Thursday live, 9 to 11 a.m. over here at redvoicemedia.com. Also a third hour Bermas afterwards, old premium stuff, which I, again, still think holds up. I hope a lot of you guys are enjoying these archived interviews that go in depth about a lot of stuff that, I don't talk about as much today, but it's still relevant. Epstein case, etc., with Richie Allen yesterday. But you look at the vast array of what's happening in the world, and so many people are quick to jump on, especially when a tragedy like that happens, and have an analysis. I like to take a step back. When something like that happens, where you got a bunch of dead people, and they're reporting 22 dead out there, that doesn't have to be the first thing I talk about. Not at all. Not at all. In fact, let me see what I can find about it as it develops over the weekend and into Monday, and maybe we'll cover it then, depending. Now, is it going to be a huge story in the mainstream media? Oh my God, of course it is. Without question, right? I think we all realize, without question, that's what's going to be happening. So, I'm going to back off of that one for now. It's just like, there wasn't just like an immediate response, full throttle on what is happening in Israel and Palestine and Gaza. And by the way, see if I can find that story. Yeah, here it is right here. So I just want people to understand. Again, I'm not for disco kids and rave kids getting killed. Okay? I'm not. Not for them getting terrorized. I'm not for paratrooping. I'm not for hostages, etc. Just want everybody to understand that I'm not for that. This is the Palestinian city of Bet Hunan, okay, prior to what recently happened. And as we slide it, okay, this is what it looks like now. Let's just keep sliding this. Okay. I want everybody to take a really good look at all those homes that have been leveled and destroyed. And can you imagine the death and the I'm sorry, that's not all. Hamas didn't own all of that. We're doing it. We do it live here. And cutting off the power and the food supply and bombing campaigns like this one. And then you find out that the United States is doing high-level war games with Israel in January.
Over the past week, I've observed our CENTCOM troops participating in Juniper Oak 23 TAC 2 alongside our Israel Defense Forces. Combined, joint, multi-domain operation to the fight, operating together on land, in the air, and on sea.
This is from CENTCOM's own page, by the way.
This is the Destroyer Squadron Commodore.
I mean, take a good look, everybody. I mean, this is what they sell you on. See, there goes the bomby bomb. But the reality is, these are the training exercises. You just saw what the cities look like, right? Call me kooky. I just don't get hyped up. But, like, it's easy to look at that and be like, yeah, America. I'm just glad it's not here right now. You know, Jones had this Russian journalist on yesterday, and it was just a really interesting conversation at the perspective as somebody who's inside of Russia. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, okay? We're going to tell you where to find that second hour, rvmrumble.com. Thumbs it up anywhere you're watching. Subscribe and share, and we'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
If you're like me and you want to be prepared for the unexpected,
that's where the Wellness Company's emergency medical kit comes
over
in.
40% of Americans say that they would avoid a doctor or a hospital unless it was a catastrophic situation.
Medical emergency kits with...
The kit contains 8 potentially life-saving medications for you to keep on hand in the event of natural disasters, supply chain shortages, medical emergencies, or like an apocalyptic situation. These are the actual medications that you would need in the event of certain situations. So they've got emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics.
TWC.com. health/RVM. Folks, you know the deal. You got to come over to rvmrumble.com for that second hour. It is free of charge. You do want to support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. I wanted to read this. Kim Iverson is in that ad, and I think it's going to be a great segue into this new thing that YouTube has. And again, we are in now an open air global re-education camp. That's not an over-exaggeration. I'm going to show you in the second hour how clear that is right now. I always wondered how anyone during their era could have defended slavery or segregation or the Holocaust or Japanese internment. But between the pandemic and now, I'm getting it. Fear. Fear of harm. Fear of others. Fear of being harmed by others. If we mix with them, they will hurt us. We must keep them away to keep us safe. YouTube, we're about to do things we can't do on your platform because this is actually an example. I'm going to read it. We're going to talk about it in a minute, of what happens when you get a strike now. You get a quiz for re-education. So, YouTube, we're going to educate